Good afternoon. Welcome to the Build in Digital Micro Conference on robotics and automation towards a manufactured workplace. My name's Joe Broon. I'm the publisher and managing director of Build in Digital. I'll be today's host. So moving on to our second keynote of today's micro conference, I'm honoured to introduce a regular guest of Build in Digital, actually, somebody who spoke on the digital construction stage that we host at UK Construction Week, and somebody who's also presented for us before. I would go as far as to say a bit of an expert on robotics. I'd like to introduce Eva Magnisali, who's the founder and CEO of Dataform Lab. Eva, over to you. Please feel free to take over the screen.
Hi, Joe. Thank you very much for the invitation, and hello, everyone. As Joe mentioned, I'm the CEO and founder of Dataform Lab, and I can give a brief introduction of what is it that we do. We are a startup with a mission to automate offsite construction, and I'll come back to that. Like, what do I mean by that? First of all, I want to start with some preconceptions about automating construction. When we're looking about automation and robotics within construction, there are several cases and several examples, and Andrew mentioned a lot of them. What I'm interested in introducing here is the concept of understanding whether we are optimizing something or overcomplicating, because there are many ways of solving a problem, but the question for me is there a problem to begin with? So if we have to create a very complex mechanism that has many more problems to stand on its own, rather than complete a very simple process, is that where we should be focusing our energy? So for me, the golden circle is where we need to start from, and we need to start with why should we automate or should we bring in robotics in construction? And for me and for us at Dataform Lab, this why is because the industry doesn't have the capacity to build all the buildings that need to be built. That's a global problem. It's not just the UK that has 28 to 30% of unmet demand every year. We know that automation and robotics can be the solution to this problem, and it can help us increase the capacity in the industry and also help us build more sustainably. These technologies are not new. They have existed for many years and revolutionized other industries. But there are certain issues to be addressed, and that also links to labor, which is one of the topics of this micro conference. So first of all, looking at introducing technologies has a high risk of upfront investment, especially for offsite manufacturers, who most of them at the moment run their factories on Excel files and manual labor, not robotics. And also it takes a long period to convert design into production information, 4 to 12 weeks, so not even machine code. And we know that the industry has a lot of uncertainty, so these manufacturers need to run on a pipeline of projects to ensure survival. So it's not even fair to ask them to take all these big risks. So the next question is, how should we do it then? What we have been working at Dataform Lab is practically a roadmap looking at manufacturing automation and design automation at the same time. So first, we need to understand how to optimize production currently with zero capex in the factories, and then plan the automation integration, understanding also how it affects human resources. At the same time, we need to have the tools to automatically convert design into production information, and that overall, it has a larger implication on the supply chain and logistics, that aligning design and manufacturing can help efficiently plan and manage the supply chain. So when I'm talking about optimizing production, this is automation at a workflow level of simulating what currently happens in the factory and optimizing how things should be made, like what's the optimized schedule. And that can already unlock 15 to 25 capacity within the factory that has been proven through projects. How that needs to be seen from an automation of workflows perspective is taking into account product variability. So variability is the enemy of manufacturing, but it's the common issue within construction. different products need different processes to be made within the same production facility. They have different bottlenecks, different production times. So it only makes sense to automate and optimize this manufacturing workflow before even thinking about introducing automation technologies. And when it comes to design, translating design into production information has to be, again, a seamless process. And that's what the second part that we're looking at. So products need to be configured automatically in projects. And with the press of a button, we need to be exporting all the production information, which is what we have been working on at Data from Lab and on our platform. And that can reduce the design time from 4 weeks to 1 day. But that's not the important part, the time saving, because we are not looking at replacing people, coming back to the labor topic. We're looking at enhancing and enabling people to be able to take on that those additional projects, that capacity that is missing right now in the industry, and fulfilling those projects. Again, that cannot be seen alone as an automated design workflow. It has to take into account what goes on in the factory. So we've heard a lot the term DFMA, design for manufacturing and assembly, but most of the times it's just something to be mentioned. What needs to happen in order to practically integrate automation of workflows within like the whole design to manufacturing process is to understand what are the manufacturing constraints. How can we optimize design for manufacturing? Are we looking to optimize production time? Are we looking to optimize material use, waste reduction? And all that is linked, of course, to the product variation. And as I said earlier, like that links also to optimizing the inventory and logistics and the relationship with the supply chain. So why is this important before looking at robotics or any kind of technologies? Is because we need to seamlessly link design and manufacturing. And that's where I think that automation is transforming the industry. We have the tools to align what happens in the design team and what happens in the manufacturing team. Normally, we've seen this a lot. These two become silos that are disconnected, even within the same business. So what we're trying to do here is to bring back this link between the two. So when a project needs to be configured, the product is configured according to how it needs to be made in the factory, and the factory is scheduled, the operation is scheduled, and the resources are scheduled according to exactly what needs to be made. So it's not an assumption, it's not just a sticker that we put on to tick a box. It's proper design for manufacturing performance. The last part to look at is what exactly to do, thinking about the golden circle. And that's where technologies come in and robotics. But again, we cannot ignore the issue that different technologies that are already existing out there, we're not reinventing the wheel, have different capabilities. These are just machines that we cannot expect them to do everything and anything. They have limitations, they have constraints, and to be honest, at the end of the day, industrial robotic arms, which is a topic that I've been working on for more than 10 years, they were made for a different industry. So we are bringing them into construction. But here we're talking about more technologies in general. It can be a nailing bridge, it can be a framing station. It doesn't really matter what kind of technology it is. The question is, how can we compare these complex technology solutions and understand what are the design limitations that they bring in? Because that will give us, thinking about linking seamlessly design and manufacturing, we need to know what are the thresholds, what are our limitations in terms of manufacturing, and bring them back into the design process in an automated workflow way of thinking. So how we are solving this problem is by creating a library of all these available technologies and having already created a simulation of a factory and understanding how that business operates, being able to drag and drop in less than 5 minutes these technologies in the main baseline simulation of the production, and comparing and evaluating different automated production line designs. What that allows us and our customers to do is to test different technology solutions in the actual factory environment, test hybrid options, because not everything should be automated. Coming back to the labor topic, not every process should be automated. There are many things that people can do better than machines and faster. But also looking at investment options, we can test the investment phasing. We have seen again many times like this over-engineering of automating a whole factory, and that creates many risks, even the risk of going bankrupt. This needs to be phased, and the decision needs to be made on data according to the unique business model of its manufacturing business. It cannot be just technology-led because there is a trend or copying what somebody else has been doing. And that, of course, has big benefits in budget transparency and cost certainty. So if I would like to leave you with one message, is that automation is not just the technologies, it's not just the machines. It's mostly the workflows, and this can be integrated much faster with zero capex and can really create innovation in construction and prepare the industry to accept and integrate technologies and like hardware.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Eva. A very insightful presentation and a really good understanding of what Dataform Lab do. Have we got any questions for Eva, please?
Could I just ask Eva, has there been some live kind of pilot schemes you've actually been able to build out as yet, or is it still sort of work in progress?
Yes, yes. So we have been working with customers in the UK and Norway, and we are expanding in more regions. But we have applied this, like we have worked with projects on our platform that have been delivered through the factory. And what is really interesting to see and see the data as well is how design with small tweaks can be really optimized to align with the manufacturing needs. Things that maybe the knowledge of the manufacturing rules belongs and like lives in the heads of the masters within the factory can be communicated and translated back into the design team to make like a very seamless feedback loop between the two parts of the process.
The link between the factory and the site delivery team, as it were, how sort of is that being something that's being improved upon as sort of kind of lessons learned from previous schemes, and just trying to sort of connect the site to the factory really, I think is a factor that has challenged some previous off-site manufacturers.
When you say connect the site to the factory, in what sense? In the sense of
So I guess it's coordinating the site operations with the factory and the production team, so that you're integrating operations on site with that the work that's being done in the factory as seamlessly as it can be. And there's obviously logistics between the two, connecting the site and the factory together as well.
Yeah. So this is something that we are helping our manufacturers do, because by optimizing the production schedule within their factory and having this transparency, not just about their capacity, but also their availability and when, like the lead times, how long they are, when projects can be completed, when projects can be inserted in the middle of the schedule. They can communicate this information to the site and align the site operations. It's not something we do on the platform, the site communication, but we give the tools to offsite manufacturers to know exactly when to order materials, exactly when to plan their interaction with the site teams. And it also, if you want, it has larger benefits. They can also communicate this information with property developers and clients of theirs to understand when can they bid for projects and when can they insert more projects in their pipeline. So eventually, like the idea is not that automation will replace people, is that we even need more people because we actually need to be completing more projects. So this is all about planning how to make the process more efficient and also utilize resources in the best ways.
We've got two more questions, one on the chat, and I'll come to you after that, Nathan. So first, we've got a question from Mani Basan on the chat. Mani is the construction ERP consultant at Pinnacle. Mani asks, is your platform intended to integrate with other systems such as an MES or ERP system, Eva?
Yes, the short answer is yes. We are already integrating with a few of these tools. And yeah, we are not reinventing the wheel and planning to take over every aspect of the business. As long as we are generating benefits that have to do with capacity increase, time savings, and revenue generation for our customers, that's where we're focusing on, the design to manufacturing automation.
Excellent. And Nathan, you got a question for us?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Nathan. I'm senior robotics and automation researcher at Atkins Realis. So really interesting to see. I was just wondering then, where do you see yourself in terms of a project? Are you more of just a software provider, or do you offer more of a service where you're working quite closely with architects and factory operators, or do you work with potential factory operators and setting up a manufacturing line?
So our main focus is what we have developed and what our customers are using is a platform, so it's software. We are giving them the tools, a design configurator and a factory simulation model, if you want simply, to optimize their operations. And like the platform helps them configure their projects and run their factories in the most optimal way. The part that I mentioned last, looking at different automation technologies and how they could fit in the factory, is an add-on service to the daily use of the platform. When our customers are ready and they are looking at making the next step to introduce automation or increase their level of automation, we can help them plan this integration. But our main business is our platform that is a software tool that we provide to offset manufacturers.
Okay, so most your clients, I guess, design house and manufacturers, or do you often see yourself having to liaise across sort of a design house and also a separate manufacturer, and almost be a bit of a bridge where your software will be sort of like the common part between the two?
So we mostly work with the offsite manufacturers from the point that they receive the design and they need to configure their products within the project. Some of the offsite manufacturers might have a different business model where they also design, but we are not like focusing on that part, to be honest. When it comes to external designers, we can help our manufacturers communicate the design rules that they are using to external architects or companies. But again, that is an add-on service rather than the daily use of the platform.
Because I guess then to reap the full benefits, ideally, if this tool was in place sort of, as early as possible in a project, you can already start simulating and start evaluating, how manufacturing and assembly would look.
That's right, but to be very honest, this is a larger discussion that maybe we don't have the time to do today. But for us, identifying the product market fit, if you want, for what we do, it's the offsite manufacturers that actually have the problem of needing to increase capacity. There is, of course, the communication with the design teams. I'm an architect engineer as my first background as well. But to put it simply, designers can only do feasibility studies, but we actually need to help the industry build better, faster, and more efficiently. So yes, there is an aspect, like there is a benefit in doing feasibility studies, but we identify the main problem being at the manufacturing stage.
Excellent. Thank you, Eva, and thank you for your question, Nathan. We are going to wrap things up now, so just a quick summary from me, from each of our 4 keynotes. First of all, we heard from Andrew Knight, the Global AI Data Tech Lead at the RICS, who initially talked about membership of the RICS, but introduced the full topic from robotics and AI and how it works within the building industry, and then delved into the topic of off-site robots and off-site construction with sensors that can not only monitor safety on site, but also various other measurements, shown as a case study in 3D printing, and whole building with the data gathering and the various platforms that were available. Andrew also touched on the impact of the workforce and the impact of safety and even ethics, which opened up the idea of blending humans and their skills with machine technologies in order to collaborate together in the future. We then heard from keynote 2, which was Eva Magnisali, the founder and CEO of Dataform Lab. Eva started her presentation by introducing the idea that the building industry struggles to keep up with the demand of the amount and need for buildings across the world, and Dataform Labs technology was introduced as a good way to save time, using automation, robotics and AI to make planning and processing of buildings more efficient, and in some cases making everything speedier from a process that would take usually 4 weeks to maybe even down to 1 day, thanks to the drag and drop ability of the software platform that Dataform Lab, should I say, offers. Thirdly, we heard from Lillian Ho, who is the digital lead and senior BIM manager at AECOM. Lillian started talking about the operation of robots and the way that we in the building industry are in transition between human-centered operation and robotics right now. She touched on the fact there is a little confusion in different companies as to what is available and what can be done, and showed us some examples of what is out there to help reduce time costs and increase efficiency. Some of the examples touched on by Lillian included Machina Labs, their robotic arms used widely in manufacturing, the Field AI solution, or the robotic dog, and finally the HP Site Print, which transfers real-time site data to software used with BIM systems to help the designers. In summary, it's not about replacing the human, but it's about enabling humans to do more and reduce the possibility of human error and cost, and obviously saving time and money. And finally, we heard from Molly Claypool, who is the co-founder and CEO of Automated Architecture. Molly dived straight into the nuts and bolts of what is available in automation for manufacturing, designing and building on-site homes. She introduced to us the robotic arm and the scalability for small to large factories. And this system can obviously help to build one home in one 8-hour shift. Molly introduced us to the Revit plugin for BIM models, which again is fast, quick and efficient. Examples of the buildings created using this technology included the Winter Circus example in Ghent, the Quartier 51 dam for 150 homes. Molly is building the first robotically assembled homes in various places and has already produced 3 micro factories up and running. Her ambition, the ambition of the company, is to get 7 micro factories up and running by the end of 2025. A surprise development is the portable micro factory that is like a mobile on-site robotic factory to be used on site. And finally, just highlighting the fact that it's extremely exciting mobile innovation, offering a future insight of building homes on site, changing the way people build homes and the future landscape. So a really interesting session today on automation, AI and robotics. I hope everyone found it useful. Additionally, we also organised the Building Innovation Awards, which takes place on the 17th of October in Manchester, here in the UK. The deadline for entering is in a couple of weeks, a week on Friday. One of the categories is best use of automation and AI, something that Automated Architecture have already entered for, I believe. So please feel free to have a look at that. Otherwise, it's a big thank you from me and everyone here at Building Digital, including my colleague Gillian. Big thank you to our 4 keynote presenters. Thank you for attending, and I hope everyone found it useful.